So for this example, we have a function that has a cosine value that has an exponent. In this case, we have this cosine to the third power here. Anytime you have something like this, or cosine or sine is raised to an exponent, you can always rewrite it to make it a little bit simpler. So we can use the chain rule. So in this case, we have our cosine radical x, all raised to the third power. So what this does is allows us to visualize our chain rule better. So just looking at it, we know that this cosine radical x is going to be our inside function, or g of x. And then our radical 3 here is going to be our outside function, or f of x. So following our chain rule, we can start figuring out the derivative of this. So also using our power rule here, where n is equal to 3. We'll go ahead and bring our n value to the front as a leading coefficient. So we have 3. And then since using our chain rule, our g of x, we multiply it by the derivative of our f of x function, but we don't change anything about our inside function. So we'll just leave this the same. And then using our power rule, 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. Now continuing on with the chain rule, we have to multiply the derivative, or excuse me, we have to multiply this part by the derivative of our inside function. So the derivative of our inside function, the derivative of the cosine, is negative sign. And then we have our radical x there. Since our radical x is inside our sine value here, we have to actually use the chain rule again for this part. So we go ahead and multiply the outside of this by the derivative of what's inside the parentheses here. So using basic algebra, we have a radical x, which is equivalent to x to the 1/2 power. And then the derivative of that, using our power rule, we bring the 1/2 to the front. So we have 1/2 x, and then 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. So this can actually be rewritten as we have 1 on our numerator. And then since our exponent here is a negative value, we know it's going to be in the denominator. So we'll have our 1 over 2 here. And since it's to the 1/2 power, we know that's going to be a regular radical. So we have 1 over 2 times radical x. So we go ahead and bring that back down here. And then we can start combining these terms a little bit. So we end up with an answer. We can bring our negative value out, so that's going to be negative 3 cosine radical x square times our sine x value here, since we're going to multiply these together. And that's going to be all over our 2 radical x here. That's our final answer.